Okay guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be learning how to draw soft hair braid, right? So right now I am currently mapping out the length of this drawing. So I'm going to the outline now and I'm sketching out the outline with my 3B graphite pencil. Right, I'm doing this gently and I'm taking my time with this. Some of the processes are going to be sped up, but you can see I'm using a particular kind of shape to draw this particular braid, and you can see it's more like a kite shape, right? And when you break your shapes down, you're drawing into shapes, it becomes very easy for you to sketch them out. So right now I'm still drawing the outlines and creating the outlines. So after that we're going to be moving into the shading process. So here I am still using my 3B graphite pencil to just create a mapping on the areas that are going to be dark, right? So I'm just signifying the areas that are going to be very dark in this drawing and the places are going to be light. So this is, I call it my mapping process, so it doesn't confuse me when I want to start shading, right? So this is the graphite pencil and I'm mapping out these areas. So right now I'm going over with my soft charcoal pen. So you can use the Milan Shitsu brand, the General's charcoal, and any other brand that is good for you, right? So I'm using it to go over the areas that are in the shadows. So these areas are going to be very dark, right? So I'm just mapping it out as usual, but I'm going to be going over this with my brush and shading it over. So right now I'm speeding up the process, and then we're going to move into the next level, which is to shade it off with my brush, right? So now we're moving into the next shade. I'm using my soft brush now to shade over those areas that I've used my soft charcoal pencil to go over. So I'm just doing this gently, right? This is the small hard filbert brush, right? You can use some other kinds of brush as well, but just let it be a bit soft and a bit hard, just in between them, and then shade softly. I'm using my other brush as well to go over the area gently. So this brush is quite a bit fluffier than the other one, and you can see it takes a bit of your time, to go through this process, but just be patient about it. The end result is going to be so worth it. So right now I'm using my charcoal powder, which I have I've imputed my brush into, and I'm going over these areas gently and I'm building the tones with my brush here. You can see how I'm applying it. In my container there I have my black charcoal powder, and you can create black charcoal powder by scraping out the wax in your charcoal pencil, and you can also create graphite powder by using that same technique as well, scraping out the wax in your graphite pencil. You can use graphite for this and you can use charcoal for this, but I prefer to use charcoal powder for this particular drawing. So right now I'm still building the tones up with my charcoal powder and my brush gently, right? I'm going over the areas that are going to be dark, as I've already mapped it out in the first stage. So right now I'm just going over the dark areas with my darks, and the light areas I'm just going over that gently as well. So you really have to be observant of your reference, because it's very important. It's very important, especially when you're drawing with a reference. Observe how your reference looks and then replicate that on your subject. Or if you want to be creative, you can do something amazing or something different, but for this particular drawing we're going to be doing what we are seeing. So right now this is my pencil eraser, right? I'm just using it to create an illusion of strands, right? Just an illusion of strands gently. And now we're still going to be building the tones and going over those areas that are dark. You see, the end result actually is going to be so amazing, because all the time you think you might be wasting, you're not wasting your time. You're gently building something. You can do this in 2 minutes, but when you take your time, the quality becomes very good. So now I use my big brush. This is a big makeup brush, to just go over every area, to soften the whole shades we've been adding, to just blend them in, right? And now also my charcoal pencil as well, to go over the dark areas too. So it's a cycle of building tones. It's a cycle. You're building something from the lightest to the darkest. So this is basically what I'm doing here, right? And you have to be observant of your reference as well. You see, the edges also is dark, so we have to make those edges dark as well. And it's still building, still the same context of building tones. If you understand this technique, it's going to be very easy for you to draw any other subject, because it is the same thing, the same application in every other area. If you're drawing with charcoals, it's the same technique, right? You build your tones gently using your dry brush. So it's very, very easy that way. So right now we are moving to the strands of this particular braid, right? It's already coming out properly, you know, still coming out properly, but we still have some final touches to do or to make on it. So right now, you know, every hair has strands, right? So I'm going to be creating the strands of this hair, but in a subtle way, in a very subtle way. So this is my soft charcoal pencil. I'm using my soft charcoal pencil to go over and create some illusion of strands. And after that, we're going to be bringing some highlights out of those strands to make it more realistic. So you have to properly cover those areas with the strands, properly cover it, because you're actually looking for a reference. So observe your reference and check where those strands are, and then create something that is similar to those strands. So this is my electric eraser, and I'll be creating some highlights in between those strands, but it's going to be gentle and it's more of an illusion we are creating, so it looks like hair. And this is my pencil eraser as well, still using it to create some of those strands and, you know, softening the other areas too. So now I'm creating brighter highlights in the strands. So these are brighter highlights. You know, you have to be gentle about this and also observant, right? So you create something amazing. So this is the final stage of this particular drawing. If you've learned something, you've learned so much, subscribe to the channel, send this to your friend who really wants to learn, right? Like it, comment. You know, you can ask questions or recommend any other tutorial you would love to see on this particular channel. Thank you so much for sticking around. I love you so much, and I look forward to your comments. Take care.